is beautiful Callaway Gardens in Pine Mountain, Georgia. A field of 23 international competitors representing 9 countries has gathered for the 26th annual Masters Water Ski Tournament. Beautiful Robin Lake at Callaway Gardens, Georgia. Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Bob Neal, along with Gary Krupa. Gary, a former Nationals Tricks champion and the voice of water skiing in tournaments coast to coast, will be working with us once again. An exciting tournament and some surprises this year, Gary.
Well, 18 very talented skiers, Bob, will be competing in 6 events, led by world champions Sammy Duvall of the United States and Ana Maria Carrasco of Venezuela. There were some surprises yesterday in the preliminaries. I think the most noteworthy being that the world's greatest men's slalom skier, Bob LaPointe, didn't qualify for the finals. Neither did Glenn Thurtle, the top jumper. But look for some newcomers to provide some excitement, like Franz Oberleitner of Austria, skiing in his first Masters, who should do some exciting things in jumping, and Karen Bowkett of Australia in the women's slalom. My favorite event, though, is going to be the men's tricks. Perhaps young Patrice Martin of France can push Cory Pickos over the magic world record 10,000-point barrier.
This program is being brought to you by Hydroslide, America's #1 knee board.
And by Continental Airlines, a new tradition in flying, the airline of the Recreation Network.
The Hydroslide kneeboard. Wild, wet, and probably the most fun you'll ever have on water. Hydroslide kneeboarding combines the excitement of surfing with the control of water skiing. And it's so easy to learn.
Graceful of ski competitions, Sue Lipplegoes, the current world record holder in jumping, leads off. Followed by Deena Brush, the reigning world champion in slalom. Third out of the gate is Karen Bowkett, Australia's national jump champion. And Camille Duvall, the current Masters jump titleist, rounds out the field for women's slalom. Sue Lipplegoes in the water, our first women's slalom skier. She's 28 years old, and starting at 28 feet off the rope length of 75 feet off, she has to pass by 6 buoys successfully.
Well, Sue Lipplegoes is probably best known as a jumper. She's the world jump record holder, but she is a very strong slalom skier as well. And watch her come in at 28 off now. This is a warm-up pass generally for Sue. She's trying to get the feel of the slalom course, getting her timing down, and then all of a sudden drops the shoulder into the water, and that is a major blunder by Sue Lipplegoes. She was not in trouble. She was in good shape, but simply, I think, lost her concentration when she got to buoy number 3.
This is Deena Brush, who is the defending champion in the slalom and in overall, also the current world record holder.
A little more work will be involved in this 32 off pass. You can see her skiing into the wind pushing into her face, and the skiers prefer skiing into the wind. They say it helps them slow down when they're in the slalom course. Deena Brush skiing into the wind very well as she nears the end of the slalom course, and again has no problem at 32 off that time.
And Gary, as we get ready to take a look at that run again, I might point out that from the center of the boat to the outside buoy is 37 feet, and of course 32 feet off the 75-foot way back in the beginning rope length is 43 feet. So you see that you have only a few feet from the center of that boat to that outside buoy.
Winning the Masters last year for Deena Brush really opened things up for her. From that point on, she literally became the top women's overall skier in the world. But this was the breakthrough she needed. She'd never won a major overall title before last year's Masters.
Now we're on the 35-foot off run. Yesterday, Deena had only 1/2 buoy at this pass.
Well, this is where all 4 of the ladies who were in the finals skied into yesterday. Our leader, Camille Duvall, scored 2.5 on this pass. Watch Deena Brush. She got not a very good turn at number 1, and you can see she was late at number 2, hangs onto the rope, and she will score 2 on that pass.
Here is Karen Bowkett. This is her second time at the Masters. Her first appearance was 1983. Now getting ready for the 32 off run. Yesterday, Karen Bowkett had no problem with this pass. She got into 2 buoys at 35 off. She's a strong 3-event skier, but this is the only event she has qualified for today here at Robin Lake at Callaway Gardens, beginning the course run of 6 buoys through the gates.
Well, again, at 32 off, she is skiing into the wind, and it's a fairly strong wind this year. Karen Bowkett, now her timing will feel differently on this pass, not only because of the shorter rope length, but because of the wind in her face. And you can see a good strong turn at number 5. Karen Bowkett skied that 32 off successfully into the wind.
And we'll head into the 35 off, and Gary, something that I think viewers would be interested in, and that is the outstanding acceleration and deceleration that these skiers have to maneuver as they go into the buoy, stop, and then have to get the acceleration going again.
Well, the skiers in the slalom course will start as they approach a buoy at speeds up to maybe 60 miles an hour. Then when they make their turn, they slow the ski down to almost zero. And the ski takes a tremendous amount of strain and stress, as does the rope, and as does, of course, the arms of the skier. Karen Bowkett, when she came out of that 32 off pass, you can see the look in her face. It looked like, I don't know how I made it, but I made it.
Well, Karen's overall best performance ever is 3 buoys at 35 off, and she's starting her 35 off run right now. She had 2 buoys at 35 off yesterday. The best today just happened moments ago from Deena Brush at 2 at 35. That's what she's shooting for.
She has her work cut out for her. Again, we keep talking about the wind, but it's a big factor out there. Watch Karen Bowkett at the first buoy. That will really make or break this pass for her. Now, again, that wind pushing her back. She went too far beyond the buoy, and then simply when she tried to straighten herself out, popped out of the water.
This is Camille Duvall, 24 years old. She comes in as #1 seed heading into her 28 off pass. She had 2.5 buoys at 35 off yesterday. Camille, 5'11", a beautiful woman who is also a model, an actress, who is in Smokey the Bandit 3 that's running in current theaters.
Well, Camille has a big advantage over the other ladies slalom skiers. Being 5'11", that gives her some extra reach and extra pull, and particularly when she gets to the shorter rope lengths, she has that advantage of 5 or 6 inches in pull.
And no problem at all in the 28 off run for the 5'11" Camille Duvall. Of course, you know the name of Duvall because of her brothers Sammy and Camille, both outstanding skiers, and here's the run at 28 off.
Well, Camille has represented the United States World Water Ski Team a number of times, so she is, of course, a world caliber skier, as is her brother Sammy. And you can see that long reach, that long pull as she rounds the buoys in the slalom course. She is an outstanding overall skier, and even though that height plays to her disadvantage in tricks, she's also a good trick skier, a good solid skier.
Ready for the 32 off pass for Camille Duvall. Remember now, it's 37 feet from the center of that boat to the outside buoy, and the rope length right now is 43 feet long.
Well, assuming that Camille survives this pass and makes all 6 at 32 off, I think she's going to have a good advantage at 35 off because she's seen what has happened to the other ladies coming into that 35 off pass. She looks to be in great shape nearing the end of the slalom course at 32 off. And that was a walk for Camille Duvall at 32 off.
Robin Lake, one of the most perfect water ski sites in the world, but sometimes because of the narrow shorelines here, the slalom course can get a little bit of rollback on the waves.
Well, people have always talked about that little bit of chop you get out there, but I think the chop is more in the skier's head than it is out in the water. This is the most pressure-packed of all tournaments.
35 off run for Camille Duvall now. The best today has been 2 buoys at 35 off. Camille did 2.5 yesterday.
Let's see if Camille can learn from what's happened to the other skiers and maybe try to set up her turn at buoy #1 a little earlier. She did get a good start at #1. If she can get to #3, she'll win the championship. She is skiing great on this pass and then dropping down in the water around buoy #4. What a performance by Camille Duvall, and doesn't she look excited?
There's your 1984 Masters champion in the women's slalom, Camille Duvall. So the women's slalom event is now official, and Camille Duvall, with 3.5 buoys at 35 off, wins, followed by Deena Brush, Karen Bowkett, and Sue Lipplegoes.
The Hydroslide kneeboard. Wild, wet, and probably the most fun you'll ever have on water.
Tricks. This field, while dominated by one man, contains 2 competitors striving for the Masters overall title, Andy Mapple and Sammy Duvall, 2-time world overall champion. Patrice Martin, the European record holder in tricks, has a chance, but the dominant man, world tricks record holder Cory Pickos. Ready for the men's tricks now, and the men's tricks, very much like the women's tricks, the boat speed just a little bit faster sometimes at the option of the men, but we have some exciting, charismatic skiers in this event, Gary.
Well, the 2 premier trick skiers in the world, Bob, are Patrice Martin and Cory Pickos. They are both here, and Patrice can push Cory perhaps over that 10,000-point barrier.
Here comes Andy Mapple, who had that great run in men's slalom, hoping now to match that here in the men's tricks event. Yesterday, Andy Mapple skied for 7,360 points. The best ever for him is 7,750.
Well, with that fine slalom performance this morning, too, Bob, Andy Mapple has actually put himself into a situation where he can catch Sammy Duvall in overall if he can ski his whole performance. Now he's in that first trick pass. He needs to ski it very quickly. He cannot back off. He needs every trick in both runs. And watch him use the wake, how he hops and wastes no space, no time at all. Andy Mapple will run close to 20 tricks in this 20-second trick pass. That's better than a trick a second pattern. Not bad. That's an excellent start for Andy Mapple.
Certainly a beautiful appearing run. Andy Mapple, a very smooth skier, just as he appeared very smooth in his slalom run earlier today. As we take a look at it again from this terrific shot from our camera that's in the actual towboat.
It is a great shot. You know, I know in years past, the judges have actually used this camera to determine where there was a question in a skier's performance. And you can see how Andy Mapple's getting that ski up off the water on these wake turns. A great shot. Andy Mapple skiing very quickly, exactly as he had to do. And we scored him at around 4,000 points on that first pass. Well, Andy is in his second pass, the toe hold pass now, and again, he needs every bit of this pass to get back into the overall picture. You can see how smoothly Andy does those toe turns. When he nears the end of the run, we'll see if he's still tricking. If he's done tricking, then you know he got everything in that he wanted to. The toe wake step over, right as the buzzer went off.
The view from the roof of the pavilion at Robin Lake at beautiful Callaway Gardens. This is Patrice Martin from France. Yesterday, he skied 8,530 points. His best ever was around 9,900, which he skied in France. And he's a big European sports hero. They love him in his native country.
Patrice Martin, a very exciting skier, and watch how quick he skis. He is the one skier who has a shot at catching Cory Pickos if Patrice does everything he can. And look at the recovery he made. He was down and then he was up.
Unbelievable.
And talk about pushing. Well, there's no reason why Patrice Martin should be still skiing, but what a recovery he made. Well, you were talking about somersaults earlier in the day, Bob, and Patrice Martin actually did a body roll on the wake. Here's where we see him drop down. Now watch him pop up. He actually popped up and forward, and what strength that takes, and what guts by his father, who is pulling the release in the boat, to hang on and not disconnect him from the boat.
Because that's a critical factor because, of course, of the danger of injury.
Oh, exactly. But apparently Patrice has done this sort of thing before.
Patrice Martin in his second pass now.
No, and not a recovery from that. He didn't have the rope strapped onto his foot, and Patrice was trying to push so hard, so quick. He knew he lost a lot of tricks in that first pass because of the bobbles, because of the slip. He tried to push, maybe tried to push a little bit too hard on the second run.
Here is our current overall leader in the Masters competition of 1984, 22-year-old Sammy Duvall. Yesterday, he tricked 8,570 points. That was his best ever. He is the current overall leader.
And Sammy is just skiing so well, not only in the slalom and jump, but the tricks, and I think surprised himself at how well he trick skied yesterday. Watch how quick Sammy is also. And Sammy gets high into the air off the wake. He is fun to watch in tricks. He's such a clean skier, doing the toe wake step over. And, you know, he lost a little bit of time there, so he probably won't score as well as he did yesterday. But watch Sammy hop and get into the air off the wake. The judges watching all these skiers to make sure they do clear the air properly. With Sammy Duvall, there's never any question. And the body over trick, stepping his body over the rope as he stepped over the rope and using the wake, and that's the first one of those we've seen.
Sammy Duvall, 22 years old. He, of course, has his own ski school along with his sister Camille in Central Florida in the Orlando area, and a fantastic trick skier. He gets better and better every year.
Yep, he works very hard. Sammy Duvall is skiing, he says, 6 times a day in training, and tricks is a good part of that training because that's a precision event that requires so much work.
Sammy Duvall going into his second pass now. He skied 8,570 points yesterday, had a good first run, now going into his toe tricks.
Yep, and a toe hold 720. That's 2 full revolutions, wrapping in and out of the rope. He handled it very well. See Sammy Duvall now still in the toe sequence, wrapping into the rope, doing the toe wake 360. And then the toe wake 360 step over. He is such a strong, amazing athlete.
Oh, and the crowd already applauding. Now watch this. Sometimes he'll do a somersault for us here after a good performance. Let's see if he does that on his way back into the pavilion area. Sammy Duvall has to be happy with that performance, the current overall leader.
Well, Sammy Duvall, I know, will do the somersaults. He does what the crowd likes, and watch him now as he does this gainer off the boat's wake. It is so exciting. He has got a tremendous amount of charisma. He would be a superstar in whatever sport he was in.
From Eagle Lake, Florida, Cory Pickos, the defending champion, the current world record holder, the national record at 10,000. It's a pending world record at 10,000. Last year's 9,940 here at the Masters, he matched by skiing to get into the finals here and be #1 seed yesterday. 9,940 points. And what more can you say about Cory Pickos?
Oh, he's the greatest trick skier of all time. His goal is 10,000 points plus here. He has never done it in a major tournament, and that's his big goal now, 10,000 points at the Masters.
Crowd already anticipating a big performance here.
He pushes so hard. He does usually 2 or 3 more tricks in each 22nd pass than the other skiers. And look at how he does not slow down at all. He knows that his chief competitor, Patrice Martin, is out of it. He fell. So now he is just going for the record. Look at, he lost his balance and still is able to hang on. What a performance by Cory.
Gary Krupa, you're so good at estimating these scores. What's a general estimate here on that first run?
Over 5,000 points. Well on his way to 10,000.
Well, cross your fingers, folks. The national record is 10,000, and of course that's pending world approval. It'll probably be approved, but 10,000, he could break his own record.
You see the stretch on his leg when he lands on those toe wake step overs, the tremendous amount of strength it requires to hang onto that rope with your leg.
Cory Pickos now in his second pass of the day, the toe tricks.
The toe wake 540, you see how high into the air he got now? Cory knows that if he can get all the way through this pass, all of his tricks, he will score over 10,000 points. He is pushing, he is pumped, the crowd is pumped behind him, using the wake beautifully, no slips so far. The 720 turns, 2 full revolutions, and he does them both beautifully. Wake step 540, and Cory is skied so well and goes down out of the course. What a performance.
So for the second year in a row, Cory Pickos has won men's tricks. And interestingly enough, for the second year in a row, Cory Pickos skied 9,940 points, just short of the world record, which he holds, of 10,000 points. Second in the event, Sammy Duvall with 8,050. Third, Andy Mapple. And fourth, Patrice Martin.
The Hydroslide kneeboard.
The men literally launched themselves off that ramp. Going airborne first is Mike Morgan, followed by Franz Oberleitner, Austria's overall champion. Mike Hazelwood, 4-time Masters champ, hits the ramp next, followed by the reigning world overall champion, Sammy Duvall. Ready for the men's jumping event now. About the only difference is the speed of the boat. The men will be jumping at 35 miles an hour, and the ramp is 6 feet high. And this is the power dramatic event in water skiing.
This is what everyone comes to see, is men's jumping. What a field of men's jumpers we have. We have a newcomer, Franz Oberleitner from Austria. He is a tiger out on the jump course. But it's Sammy Duvall, Mike Hazelwood. Those are the guys really to watch. They will go maybe close to 200 feet.
Mike Morgan, our first skier in the men's jumping competition. That boat speed 35 miles an hour. The ramp 6 feet high. Light rain has started to fall here. Gary Krupa, they hit that ramp at somewhere around 65 miles an hour. The skier I'm talking about. It could affect a bit the jumping.
Oh, sure it could. The rain blowing right into their face when they come into that. And they've got to make a decision whether or not to hang on or not. What a beautiful looking opening jump for Mike Morgan.
Mike Morgan jumped yesterday 182. His best ever is 187, and he did 170 on the opener.
Well, the rain didn't bother Mike in the least there, and you could see in a beautiful position when he came off the ramp. You can see him bent slightly forward, leaning out over his skis, much like a snow ski jumper. A pretty opening jump.
Now here is the number 3 seed in men's jumping in the finals in the 1984 Masters, Franz Oberleitner, 28 years old, from Strasbourg University in Austria. Oberleitner is a snow skiing champion in Austria, in addition to being a water skier. As a matter of fact, he coaches the British snow skiing team, one of the few skiers in the world who is a world-class skier in both water and snow skiing.
And you can see it by his style, but let's see if he hangs on in this cut. He is coming in with a tremendous amount of speed, and what a jump!
181 feet for Franz Oberleitner, and that brought the crowd to its feet.
Oh, did he have a tremendous amount of speed when he hit the bottom of the jump. And watch him pulling all the way. He has to cut as hard as possible. And look at the look on his face when he comes into the bottom of the jump.
Stark terror.
Exactly. But how he hung on and rode it out, I don't know, but what a jump it turned out to be.
Four-time Masters overall champion Mike Hazelwood from England yesterday jumped 187 feet, his best ever 197 feet.
We can expect Mike to really attack this time. He'll wait longer. Again, the danger in waiting so long is crashing into the side of the jump when you make your approach. Mike Hazelwood coming in very hot, very strong. And look at that extra float. And he is happy with that.
187 feet for Mike Hazelwood. That is exactly equal to his best jump yesterday, and that'll be the distance to beat on the Sunday competition.
He waited probably 10 feet longer before he started his cut, had a tremendous amount of speed, and look at him stretch, look at him get that extra push, extra kick in the air, and then gliding down 187 feet away.
Sammy Duvall approaching for his third and final jump, the final jump of the 1984 Masters competition. Sammy's best jump, 184 feet today, but he needs to beat 187 to win the jumping championship.
Sammy can feel the pressure now as he comes into the jump course and begins to set up his approach to the ramp. Waiting to the last possible instant. Tremendous speed at the bottom of the jump, and that extra float and extra spring.
185 feet, and Duvall does not catch Mike Hazelwood. So with 187, Mike Hazelwood will win the jumping competition, but Duvall will stand in good stead with the overall competition.
Not a surprise, but it was a great finish to the tournament.
This has been a Recreation Network presentation. Tom Tatum, executive producer.
Lakes.